If you're a heat and air conditioning technician or even a salesperson and you're heading to your first sales meeting, what should you expect and why does it matter? This is a super important question. I'm Scott Sylvan Bell, coming to you live for HVAC Technician Sales Secrets on a perfect day to talk about sales and business and a fantastic day to talk about you. Okay, in video number 1, we talked about ownership and management. Number 2, we talked about other technicians and other salespeople or other people on the team. And number 3, we're going to talk about you. So we all go through different feelings and emotions when we're put under pressure. And under pressure, our dominant traits come out, including me. So hi, I'm Scott. Anything that I share with you happens to me too. And the reason I bring this up is, like, when you're going to your first sales meeting, it could be intimidating, especially if it's on a larger team, or it may not matter to you. I don't know. We're all a little bit different. So if it was me and I was heading to my first meeting, I would show up early. I'd find a really good place to sit. I'd make sure that my uniform was pressed. I'd make sure that my shoes were polished. I'd make sure that I was on time. I'd make sure that everything is you're not going to find something wrong with me. I would have a notepad to take notes, or a tablet to take notes, or a computer to take notes. And then I would participate at whatever level necessary. You're probably going to have to introduce yourself. Have about 3 to 5 sentences around you, about you. You don't need to have 22 pages of a book. So when you're taking about, you're going through these meetings, you're going to have different ranges, like, hey, what did I get myself into? Or I'm really excited. You can oscillate in these meetings. You can absolutely go from ooh, I don't know, to I'm really excited, to ooh, I don't know, I'm really excited. That's normal, right? It's 100% normal. All right. Well, the first time that I sat in on an executive training and I was training some CEOs, I was like, I have worked my entire life to be here, but I'm going to tell you, I'm a little bit nervous. Okay. So it's normal. I go through this to this day, even for me. Okay. And so be aware of the positive current in the conversations and be aware of the negative undercurrent. So there's always hey, congratulations, this dude's crushing it, this chick's crushing it, under these circumstances, under all these things that are going on, and they're doing well, right? Yeah, celebrate that. But also look for the negative things that are going on in the presentation, but don't get caught up in them. Get caught up in the positivity, let the negativity go, right? You don't need that drama in your life. It'll pull you in, it'll suck you down, and it just takes a long time for you to get out from underneath it. And it happens on every sales team. Stay away from the whiners and complainers. I'm going to say this every chance that I get. Stay away from whiners and complainers. You want to complicate your life, hang out with whiners and complainers. They're not going anywhere anyway. You may look at them and oh my goodness, that dude crushes it. He makes all sorts of sales. The drama ain't worth the squeeze, right? It's just not there. Look for the salespeople on the text. Look for how they're doing and how you react to that. Look at how they talk. Look at how they interact, right? And interpret that information and go, hey, if they're role playing it, and this is how they pause and they put ums and ahs in there, and that's what they do in real life, congratulations. That's real life. It's interesting. Some sales trainers will tell you, don't put ums and ahs in your conversation, and some sales trainers will tell you, at the end of the day, ooh, you like a lot of spaghetti sauce or a little? I'm the dude that likes a lot of spaghetti sauce. And I just have this belief that I'm a human being, so I'm going to screw up. I'm going to say things like and ah. I'm going to say hey, let me put some whiteout on that conversation. Hey, let's restart that over. There's nothing wrong with that. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. And this right here is why you should join my email publication. I'll give you the goods, not the Facebook group, not the YouTube channel, private coaching, private training. Go to that URL, drop in your name and your email address, probably your phone number. It'll be awesome. Look for the emotional response that you have. Okay. Look for how you feel. Look for how you feel when people talk to you. Look for how you feel when people role play. Look for how you feel when people go over numbers. At some point, here's what happens to everybody. Your numbers go up. Yay, you. And then there's a time where numbers go down. I've had periods or seasons in my life, as people say, where my numbers have tanked. I've had periods and seasons in my life where you can't touch me. I've gone through both sides. I've been through heck and I've been through back. It's YouTube. It's social media. I'm trying to self-edit, right? I've been through heck and back. Look for what it's like when people get called to the carpet. Now, you can tell a lot internally about yourself, how you react to conflict and conflict resolution. If you grew up in a family or an environment where there was tons of conflict and it was just head beating all the time, and you're like, okay, this is normal, it's not going to bother you. If you grew up in a really super lovey-dovey family, not a complaint, not anything against you, it may be weird and unusual for you to see some conflict. I'm not a big fan of the movie Wolf of Wall Street for it to be a sales training movie. But there are some scenes in that movie that are pretty accurate for some sales floors where it's physical, it's fights, it's very aggro, it's very it's very like steroid fused, like we're gonna beat things down. So like it doesn't happen a lot, but when it does, you're like, oh, okay, this is kind of crazy, this is kind of weird. And then, you know, here's the thing. Look for like your internal representation of how you feel after you go to the meeting. If you feel after the meeting, you're like, hey, I've got some concerns, go to the manager, go to the business owner, go to the person who hired you and said, hey, look, I don't necessarily know what's going on here. Can you give me shed some light on the situation? Can you help me out and help me understand what this means or what we're doing? I didn't quite get here. I got some notes. You know, I'm still excited about working here. It's not that I have concerns. I don't know where this fits in. I didn't get this. I don't get that. And so when you're willing to have the conversation, you can learn faster. But be aware, right? Like, just heads up, there are people on the sales team that don't want you there. They don't want you there. So they're going to cause a lot of problems. Like, you are competition for their next meal. You are competition for their car payment. You are competition for their trip to Tahiti. You are their competition to take their lady or their dude out on a date, right? So if you don't perform, they're going to look at you, go, sales dude, technician, you didn't close that deal and I would have, right? And this is a common thing that you hear from closers, and there's nothing wrong with this, right? But be aware that sometimes that feeling that you get afterwards, you're like, oh, I kind of feel guilty. I feel like regret. Like, be aware, all this stuff is normal. Find a good coach, find a good mentor, find somebody to talk to. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a doctor, attorney, marriage counselor, or accountant. I'm not good at any of that stuff. But be aware that this is what you have to know about meetings. And at the end of the day, most people will never tell you about them. You got one of 3 things to do from here. Just one of 3. Find the subscribe button, click on it, and every time I send a video, you'll get an update. 2, hit follow. 3, you know what you got to do. Share this video with a friend. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.